Welcome to the sales training for Managed Endpoint Detection and Response, otherwise known as EDR. This is provided by Business Cybersecurity Solutions, and it is a fully managed EDR, which we'll talk about in a bit. So a managed endpoint detection and response solution is a step above antivirus. For some customers, all they have is antivirus. For example, PCS Secure It, and that is fine, but antivirus is intended to identify threats based on some known thumbprint or identification algorithm. So it has to understand what things are already out there or things very much like them in order to be effective. And this is not bad. This will get most of the worst stuff out there, but this certainly is not foolproof. So to take it to the next level, you want to actually have a managed endpoint detection response solution on your machines. Now, this is ideally side by side with antivirus. It does not have to be. Most of the things that an EDR will catch will indeed be similar to the antivirus. However, EDR will detect more. The reason we like to have both is because the antivirus can catch something based on a signature very quickly, whereas an EDR solution has to look at behavior on that machine. So at that point, the virus has already started to do stuff. So we like to have both to minimize the impact to our end users. So the first thing is you've got an agent. So there is a piece of software just like antivirus loaded on the computer, which is watching. And when it detects something, as the name implies, it can do certain responses based on whether or not it knows that that particular thing that it identified is inappropriate. And these are configurable. However, there is a whole series of pre-programmed things such as certain processes or certain sequences of events that are known to be bad. So it is going to shut those down immediately. Now, for the things that are not apparently obvious, this is where we go to the next level of it being managed. All of the logs and telemetry based on this agent are going up to a security operations center. And there are people who have very specific processes and some technology to look through those logs to identify those that the system wasn't able to identify immediately. They can apply some human brain power to it to say, oh yeah, this is a problem. We're going to isolate the machine, or no, it's not a problem. It's acceptable. So let me give you an example of where an EDR solution would work where antivirus might fail. If someone is able to get into your computer because they know your password, that is a big one. No antivirus will block due to a password being stolen. Now, there's been over 15 billion passwords, that's with a B, 15 billion passwords and climbing in the last 12 months. Now, with that being said, there's a pretty decent chance that your password is indeed out there. So if they manage to get in somehow through your remote access solution or other means, then they're going to be on your computer, logged in as you. Now, the EDR tool is looking for patterns of behavior. So if you log in at 2 in the morning, and you never do that, that's not an immediate flag. You might be allowed to log in at 2 in the morning. However, it's unusual. So that might be a yellow alert. It's not going to take any action yet. Now, maybe you create a new administrator user on your computer. Again, that is allowed. But if it's never seen you do that before, that would certainly be suspicious. Next, let's say that account gets logged into. So they log out as you, they log in as this new account, and then they start installing software. Okay, we now have several yellow alerts in a row that are definitely fishy. So it is going to perhaps, based on the rules we set up or the workflow, it could then shut that instance down. It could isolate it. All depends on what you want to set up in the workflow. But it is going to notice that it is unusual for you to log in at 2 in the morning, to create an administrator account, to then log in as the administrator account, and then start installing software. That just is very suspicious. This is where the managed part comes into play because the tool might not have caught it up front, but now that we have a series of activities, then it might be cause for an alert, okay? So there are dashboards which you can look at, which the guys in the SOC look at. You don't have to, but they can. There's a lot of information there. The alerting, obviously, we can set different kinds of alerts based on the event. The incident response workflow, that's what defines how all this goes down. If there's a yellow flag, maybe it sends an email. Maybe if there's a series of yellow flags and it turns into an orange, maybe that's still email. Or maybe they call the IT guy. Or if it's a red alert, then they're going to call the IT guy no matter what time of the day it is. And they were going to have multiple contacts so that we know that we can get response right away. And then, of course, remediation. If you do have an event, there's a problem, they are going to be able to help you all along the way in fixing the problem. That is, of course, if we can't fix it automatically right away. All right. Now, key questions. Pretty straightforward. First of all, do you have a regulatory requirement for enhanced security? This is something that is increasing as we go. So, for example, the Department of Defense has released the CMMC, which is something that a contractor wants to do business with them, they must comply. So they would answer yes. In Virginia, they have passed 1334, which is also for certain people a higher level of care when it comes to security. So they would be great candidates as well. HIPAA, PCI, any of these other standards by which a customer might have to comply, they are great customers for us because then we know that they have the need for sure. And then you ask how many workstations and servers that they have. Now, the managed EDR solution is not a fully managed SOC. So it is important to understand that if they need monitoring on their network, their email, their firewalls, and their computers, then they need a managed SOC or managed security operations center. If they're just trying to improve their stance beyond antivirus, but maybe before the full need for a SOC, then this is a great middle ground for them.